fun all the time.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Enlightened Path with Kat. And I am here today to talk a little bit about energy connection. We'll get into a little more detail on what that's about, some that we want and some that we don't want. But first I want to talk a little bit about the center that I'm coming in from and some of the things that we have going on there. It's the Enlightened Path Holistic Center, and it's up North Charlotte Street in Pottstown. If you're familiar with the Sunflower Cafe, I'm right next door to that. And we have a lot of different things going on there. If you use Facebook, check out the Facebook page. That'll show you all the different events and things that we have going on. We also have a website, which is enlightenedpath-hc.com. And that'll also have some of the people that work there, contact information, a little bit about the center, and also some of the events that we've got going on. And then if you have any questions, you can always give me a call. It's 484-624-8095, or you can drop me a message on Facebook, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Or better yet, just stop out to the center and see what we have. Along with all the different events that we have going on, there's also a lot of different gift items, and the holidays are coming up, so keep that in mind. We have a lot of different local artists that have product in there. We've got jewelry, some beautiful jewelry, some very reasonably priced stuff too. It's really nice stuff. So again, think Christmas, it's coming. We also have aromatherapy stuff, candles, incense, crystals, little knickknacks, wall hangings, a few musical instruments, a lot of different things. So stop in, check that part out. As far as the events going on, there's something going on most days that we're open. I have different people there doing different types of healings. We have Reiki healing, reflexology, pranic energy healing. Pranic is very similar to Reiki. I think more people are familiar with the Reiki healing than they are the pranic. Pranic is more on the outer layer, and then they work towards the inner. There's no touching with pranic, where with Reiki it's more of a hands-on. So if you have any questions on that, there's some info on the website, on the Facebook page about that. There's also, did I mention reflexology? If you want to get your feet spoiled, that's amazing. Massage. There's a couple different types of massage. We have a gentle massage, and then we have craniosacral massage. We've got different types of readings going on. There's palm readings, tarot readings. I'm going to say we're having a little trouble with the sound here. Would it help any if I moved it up?
I think let's see how it is on moving it up, and then start talking.
Okay, is that any better?
I think maybe see if we can put it down there, only just because for some reason it's not picking up your voice.
Sorry guys, bear with us for a second. We'll get this going. How about if I try my necklace?
If not, I'm just going to bring in my.
Is that any better? No? Okay, well,
I'm going to bring over a mic for you. How's that?
I'll keep talking. Did any of it pick up, or do I need to
Yeah.
like read? It was just a little hard.
Yeah, it's just a little hard.
Okay.
Do you want to start with the pen? Do you have a full one?
No, we'll just keep going. I'll just repeat a little bit of it, and
Turn this mic on.
so hopefully you guys are hearing a little bit of what I'm saying while we switch the mics, but I'll repeat some of it so you can catch up. Are we good with the regular mic now?
Yeah, we are good.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So anyhow, just to repeat real quick for those that didn't get a chance to hear what I did say, it's the Enlightened Path Holistic Center up in Pottstown. It's up 1494 North Charlotte Street. Check out the website, enlightenedpath-hc.com, or the Facebook page that has all of our events and everything on there. We have a wonderful shop if you want to stop in and check things out. We've got a gift area. there's Christmas coming up, so keep that in mind. We've got some beautiful locally made jewelry. I have a few different artists that bring that in, and we've got candles, aromatherapy stuff, incense, crystals, knickknacks, wall hangings, you name it. Dragons, fairies, angels, quite a variety. So keep in mind, Christmas is coming, and if you're not sure what to get, we do gift certificates, so that's always a great thing to give for Christmas. But if you have any questions, the phone number is 484-624-8095. That's out to the center. If you have any questions during the show and you want to call in live during the show, it's 484-945-2605. So some of the events that we have going on at the center is the healing things that we have are Reiki, and a lot of people are familiar with Reiki. I've done a couple shows on Reiki. I also do long distance Reiki once a month on the radio show. We have massage, a couple different types. We have gentle massage, which you can use table or chair. We've got cranial sacral massage, reflexology. If you want to get your feet pampered, that's amazing. And then we also have pranic energy healing, which is similar to Reiki, but it's more of a no-touch energy healing. They work more on the outside. I practice Reiki. I'm not really familiar with how the pranic works, but I've seen it do amazing things. And if you have any questions on that, check it out on the Facebook event page, and all the details on that are there. We also have different types of readings. We have palm readings, tarot readings, psychic medium readings, oracle card readings, quite a variety. So again, the best way to see what we've got is to check the events page. There's a lot of special events that we do have coming up too that I just wanted to touch base on quick. We have, this week is a tarot card reading class. It also works with the oracle cards. That is Thursday evening at 6:30. On Sunday, we have a Reiki 1 class. We may have 1 or 2 spots open left for that, but that's pretty full. We'll be doing it again probably in a couple months. Starting next week, I'm starting a new meditation in the morning. That's going to be every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. It's Rise and Shine meditation. We're going to have you do a little bit of chakra exercise to get the chakras opened up and moving, and then we're going to do a nice long meditation to get your week started, and then we'll chit-chat a little bit about the meditation after. So that's about an hour, and that's going to be every Monday morning. Starting next month, I'm also going to have it on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. So keep that in mind too. This month was pretty well booked up on Saturdays, so I'm going to wait until next month. But for now, we're starting this next coming Monday at 9 o'clock. Thursday the 17th is our drum circle. Once a month we do a drum circle. That's at 7. We have a movie night on the 18th. That we usually have once a month as a fundraiser for a local rescue farm. We have a Reiki share once a month. That's the third Sunday of every month. That's from 1 to 3. So that'll be Sunday the 20th this month. On the Monday the 21st, we have our night reading where me and one of our other readers, Jody, will be available for some evening appointments. A lot of times people can't get in during the day, and that's one time that Jody can do it in the evening. So we just make those hours available for those that can't do it during the day. We have another new thing that we're starting on Friday the 25th, and that's going to be an open mic night. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you read poetry, read stories, if you have a musical instrument that you'd like to play, guitar, drums, whatever it is, if you like to sing, come on out and share your gift with us. No charge. It's just come on in and have some fun. And if you're not open to sitting up in front of everybody and letting it out, then just come and listen. Come and show your support to some of the artists that are going to be there doing their singing and their music and their poetry reading. On Saturday the 26th, it's not a center event, but it's a group event that we're trying to get people together to go do as a group. and we're going to go do the Colonial Gardens to do the haunted hayride. So what we're going to do is get everybody together. We'll meet at the center and then carpool over. And that's going to be Saturday the 26th. We're figuring around 7 o'clock. Details on that are on the event page, but you can call me or stop in and talk to me about it if you'd like to join us. We'll probably meet around 6:30 and then figure on doing the hayride itself around 7. If you've ever been out to the Colonial Gardens, it's in Phoenixville on 724. They do an amazing job on their haunted hayride. I have a blast every time I go out there. And then on Friday, November the 1st, is when we're doing our Halloween party. It's going to be Halloween / All Hallows Day. Halloween is falling on a Thursday, so we figured it would be a little more convenient to everybody to have the party that we'll be doing a seance and a costume contest and the whole works that night. So it'll be an all-day event where we'll be in costume during the day. We'll have snacks and refreshments out during the day, a couple extra events going on. Kids can come trick-or-treat. If you show up in costume during the day and you want to do some shopping, you'll get 10% off of anything in the shop, but you must be in costume to get that. And then in the evening, starting around 6, we'll start the actual party, the fun stuff. Figure the contest for the costume, we'll have a few different categories. There will be prizes for the best costumes, and that we'll have around 7. And then we'll play some games or just entertain each other and chit-chat and have some munchies. And then probably around 9 o'clock, we'll start a seance. We did this last year. We had a riot. We had a really good time. Everybody had a blast. We had quite a crowd come out, and we had quite a big circle for the seance. So come on out and join us. Again, that's on the Facebook event page too. This coming Saturday, normally the shop is open on Saturdays, but this Saturday we will be closed. We're going to be out at the Pottstown Riverfest, so come out and see us there. We're going to be doing a drum circle out there at 1 o'clock, and then we're going to be doing a goddess dance demo, which is one of the events that we have at the shop every Wednesday. It's a free-form belly dance, but we're going to be doing a dance demo at 2 o'clock. The rest of the day, we will be there we'll have a stand there, and we'll be doing readings and Reiki, and we'll have a few handmade local items there for sale as well. So stop out and say hi. We'll be there till probably about 6 o'clock. I think the festival actually runs from 12 to 6. And if you have any questions on that, give me a call. And again, that'll be posted up on Facebook as well. I don't have the info on there yet, but I'll probably be putting that on tomorrow. So any of these events, and if you have any questions at all, just stop in or give me a call. Again, the number out at the center is 484-624-8095. And if you have any questions on the show we're doing today and you want to call in live, it's 484-945-2605. And I think that number's at the bottom of the screen as well. So if you're watching the show, the number's there and you can just give us a call. So today's show, what we're talking about today is energy connection. That's connection that we want and some connection that we don't want, that we need to cut off. I think we have a hard time sometimes finding the words as to explain what it is, so hopefully this is going to give you an easier way to describe it. Being as it's something that we can't necessarily see, it is a little hard for some people to comprehend it. A lot of us don't believe it unless we actually can see it. It's not something tangible that we can actually touch. So you're probably wondering what my little Buddha guy here is. I didn't bring it in so much for the Buddha, but more for the static ball that's on here to give you kind of an idea for those that can't grasp what you can't see. We all emanate energy. Our energy goes out in many different ways. Sometimes it's thoughts, it's feelings, it's emotions, but all these things go out in a form of energy. So what we're doing when we're sending it out, all these little things that are pulling out, that's the energy going out. And what other people would be my hand touching the ball, and you can see how the energy just attracts right to me. If anybody's ever played with a static ball, you know they're a lot of fun. But if you stop and think about it and you really look at how they work, I mean, you can put your hand towards it and not even touch the glass, and you can see how the energy is attracted to the hand. And then when you actually touch it, well, and it's right there at your hand. And they're a lot of fun, but it gives you a visual of how our energy works, how the energy can go from one person to another person. And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. So he was just here to give a little bit of a prop for those that don't understand it because they can't see it. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of a visual. But what it comes down to, I mean, when you walk into a room or you meet somebody for the first time and you get that cold feeling or you get that warm feeling, that's the energy that they're putting out. You don't know them. You don't know anything about them. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. But they're emanating something. It's not always the body language. It's not always the words that may come out. They may not be saying anything, or they may just be standing there and there is no body language to look at. But you can feel it. And that's the energy that they're putting out. When you get to know somebody really good, and sometimes you know what they're going to say before they say it, or they know what you're going to say before you say it. Again, that's an energy communication that they're putting out. We communicate with the thought. And you don't have to be a psychic or a mind reader. It's the thought pattern goes out on a wave, and you don't always realize that the people across the room can pick that up sometimes, especially if you're really focused on it. And how about when you walk into a room and there's somebody on the other side of the room that really catches your attention? They're busy talking to other people, but maybe there's an attraction there for you. And you're looking at them and you're thinking, oh, I'd really like to get to know that person. They look really cool, and you're really interested in them. And they, for some reason, turn around and look right at you. What made them turn around and look at you? It's happened many times. I mean, I know it's happened to me many times. It's happened to other people I've talked to many times. You didn't say anything. You didn't call their name. You didn't tap them on the shoulder. All you were doing was thinking what an attractive person they were, or how you'd really like to get to know them. And they stop their conversation and they look up and they look right at you. That was your thought energy reaching out to them and attracting them to turn around and look at you. It's your energy was attracting their energy. We walk around with an energy field around us all the time. However, some of us are more open, and we allow that energy to just emanate out, and everybody can pick up on it, and it's just really strong. You meet people sometimes and you say, oh, what a strong energy they have. They've got such a great warm energy. And then there's other people, their energy field is really tight. They're very protected, and they don't want anybody to feel their energy, so they keep it tight. And you can't feel them as easily as you can somebody who's more open with their energy. And sometimes you can look at it as instinct, but I think it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than just instinctually knowing what somebody's going to do or going to say. There has to be something there to send that out to you. There had to be something that you picked up first. There are some people that need that a little stronger. I was just talking to somebody a little bit ago about a friend of theirs that doesn't believe they have the ability to read people's energy and to pick up on what they're thinking. But with the line of work that they do, which is law enforcement, they really have to do that. And they don't realize that they are doing it, but they pick it up like that. They know what somebody's going to do right before they do it. And that's training. They pick that up and they know. But if they didn't do that, they could be in a lot of trouble. Same thing with physicians, counselors. There's a lot of people that, deal with special needs people, and they don't have the verbal connection. They can't communicate as well. So we have that energy connection that allows us to pick that up, and some people are more honed in on that. When we develop it more and we learn to use it a little bit better, it allows us a better communication with people that are around us, people that we want to connect with, our loved ones, our family, our friends, our coworkers, and that time when you meet somebody across the room and you want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm here. If you really develop it, you can really get them to turn some heads. Try it sometime when you walk into a room, even if it's somebody that maybe you're not necessarily really interested in, but just as an experiment. Try to get somebody who's not paying attention to you to turn around and look at you by really thinking about them and really putting just the thought, turn around and look at me. I'm here. Turn around and look at me and see what happens. So one of the things that can cause a problem or can also be a good thing with the energy connections is when those connections actually latch on and they become cords. You have, the cords are like just, if you picture a rope or a string going from one person to another, but they're made of energy. They're a little stronger than just sending a thought. These are an attachment. When you have a baby in the womb and they have that umbilical cord, that's feeding them. It's giving them the nutrition that they need. Once that baby's born and that umbilical cord, the physical umbilical cord is cut, there's still an emotional umbilical cord that goes, still going to the mother. And that attachment stays very strong to the mother for quite a long time. While that baby is still in need of being nurtured and being cared for by the mom, that connection's there. Now, as they grow older, that connection begins to get a little weaker, get a little, start to fall away a little bit. But occasionally, that cord stays strong. Sometimes it's because there's a need that hasn't been filled. Sometimes the child is not gaining they're not becoming independent. And a lot of times that's the mother's allowing that cord to be there. Maybe she doesn't want to cut the cord, so she allows that connection to stay strong. And that can actually get draining after a while. And you really have to learn to cut those cords and allow them to become independent and to take care of themselves. That cord should really only be there while they're young and while they really need to be taken care of. But that also goes with not just children, but maybe we have a friend that becomes very dependent on our assistance, a coworker that becomes dependent on us doing work for them. There's many different reasons why people get cords attached between them. Sometimes it's a good thing because we want that connection. Family, friends, intimate lovers, when you're in any kind of a relationship, you want that connection between that person. You want to know what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and you want to feel that that intimacy and to be able to connect with each other deeper than just conversation. But what happens when, in dealing with like a romantic relationship, what happens if that relationship ends? Well, now you've still got that cord between you. Maybe one of you wants it broken, one of you doesn't. So that cord stays there unless you know how to detach that cord and break that attachment. And I've seen it happen many times where somebody in that example, in a romantic relationship, and they have a cord going between them, and they've wanted to break that cord. There's somebody that's still holding on to them, but the other person wants that cord broken. The person that they're trying to break that cord away from is constantly reaching out to them, constantly sending them text, calling them, emailing them, constantly reaching out, and just won't leave them alone. They won't allow that cord to just break away on its own. So we do some work with them. We do some energy work. There's some prayers. There's different angels that you can work with. Archangel Michael is awesome for cutting cords. But you work with these people and you get these cords cut. And it seems like once those cords are cut, the other people that they've cut that cord from, they seem to just go off into the woodwork. They don't get the texts all the time. They don't get the phone calls all the time. It's because you've severed that energetic connection. As long as you've allowed it there, they still feel that connection to you. They still feel like they can reach out to you. But once you've cut that and you've eliminated that, then they don't feel it. They feel like you've moved away. And it's also negative ones, like when you have somebody that not necessarily they were a friend at one time, but there was some kind of connection that was made, and maybe you instantly didn't like each other. As soon as you met, you didn't like each other, or you didn't like them. You didn't like the energy that they were feeling. But you had something that they wanted. Maybe it was your happy energy. Maybe it was your zest, your joy. They wanted some of that. So they reach out and they try to pull that energy from you. They may not even know what they're doing. They're not doing it, consciously reaching out and saying, oh, I'm going to take this person's energy. I'm going to take this person's happy. But subconsciously, their energy is reaching out and they're trying to take yours. So now you've got a cord attached from somebody that you don't even like. Again, it's the same thing. The cords need to be cut. So we have to learn when we want to keep the cords there and when we want to cut the cords. So keep in mind, if it is somebody that you're close to, is it somebody that you want that intimacy with? Is it somebody that you want knowing what you're going to say before you say it, or what you're feeling without you even saying what you're feeling? And are you ready to cut the cords if that were to end? It can be very draining if you don't cut those cords. It will drain your energy. I mean, you've heard energy vampires. Some people talk about energy vampires. Again, I believe that these are people that are lacking in their own energy, and they may not, and some may do it on purpose. But a lot don't even know that they're doing it. But they don't have that joy in their life. They may feel drained and run down and zapped and depressed, and they're looking for anybody that they can attach to try to get some of that good energy, especially somebody that they see is happy and full of energy, full of life. Well, they want that. They need that. So they're going to reach out and they're going to try to take yours. And if they take, and you're not replenishing yours, it's going to drain you. And you're going to go from being this happy, vital person running around full of life and happy and positive, and to being more of a always tired and drained, and just life is really kicking me in the butt. And if you're in that position now, where you're feeling tired all the time and you're not really sure why, try and think about whether you've been around somebody that was that tired, lethargic person. Now they seem to have a little more energy. Stop and think about that. And maybe it's possible that that energy that you had might be going somewhere else, and you need to sever that and start replenishing your own energy. So another way that we can use the energy connections is by a touch, but like here, where I'm physically touching the glass and the energy is coming right to my hand. So we can actually use touch to share the energy as well. A hug. How many times have you gotten a hug from somebody and it just felt so good? It just picked you up. Maybe you were a little down. Maybe you were just having a bad day. And a nice, warm, loving hug. It just makes your day. It makes you feel so much better. Or the other way around. You run into somebody that's having a really bad day and you just know that they need a hug. So you reach out and you give them a hug and they say, oh, that felt so good. That's the best hug that I've had in a long time. That felt so good. Thank you. You've made my day. And it just seems to lift them up. So just a hug is also a great way to share energy. I mean, you're not physically giving them a massage or anything like that. Just that hug alone is giving them just a little bit of that energy, but you're doing it willingly. You're not allowing somebody to just take your energy. You're doing it willingly. A handshake. A simple handshake. Sometimes when you take somebody's hand, you can feel from that handshake, and I'm not talking about their grip or, whether they hold your hand this way or, if they curl their fingers. It's not about that. It's the energy that you feel coming from their hand. As soon as their hand touches yours, sometimes you can just feel whether that person has a good energy, a bad energy, a warm energy, a hyper energy. You can tell just from that first touch. And that's the energy exchange between the two people. When you're intimate with somebody, when you're, spending a little bit of time together and being romantic and you're feeling each other's skin and you're touching each other, you're sharing that energy. Sometimes you can almost feel that spark as you touch. Maybe sometimes, remember when we used to rub our feet on the carpet and you'd reach up and zap somebody with it? Well, that's that energy running through your body. And by kicking the rug or rubbing a balloon or whatever it is that you use, that's building up that energy, physically building up the energy and giving you that static where you can zap somebody. That was always fun when we were kids to run around zapping each other. But sometimes we can feel that real gently without, building up that currency with the rug or the balloon, but you can actually feel it just by touching each other. A lot of the healings that I was talking about earlier, the Reiki healing and the Pranic healing and even laying on of hands type healings, any of those energy healings, that's what we're doing is we're pulling that energy through and we're being a conduit of an energy that we might not even understand, but that energy is flowing through us and flowing into the recipient that's receiving the healing. It's all based around that energy. Again, just being close to people, you can feel it. A little exercise that you can try, I'll give you a couple just that you can play with. You need a partner, so you get a friend or somebody that's not going to think you're too crazy, but it's fun. There's a couple different things you can do. If you sit in a chair across from each other, you don't want to be touching knees, but you want to be fairly close to each other. And as you're sitting there, you're really focused on each other's breathing. And in order to get really in sync with each other, as one breathes in, you breathe out. So it's like as I'm breathing in, they would be breathing out. And then you would have this constant motion of the breathing, and you're really getting in sync with each other's breathing. And then as you finally find that you're kind of on the same rhythm and you're comfortable that you're in that same rhythm, I want you to picture the breathing as an actual energy circle that's going between you. And you can even kind of play with it a little bit by putting your hands up to each other. Don't touch each other. Just put your hands up to each other real close and actually feel the energy between each other. Pull it apart, like this is the other person and this is you. And you can just real slowly until you can both really feel it. And another thing you can do too is you can do it with your own hands. They're across from you, and if you kind of create an energy ball, I mean, you're visualizing it as a ball in your mind, but you're just building up this energy between your hands, and you can feel it as you're getting them really close without touching, and just pull it apart a little bit and then bring them closer together. And each time you go to push them closer together, you're going to feel that energy a little bit more each time. And then you can actually create what you visualize as a ball, and you can hand it to each other. And as you're handing it, you get further and further apart from each other, and then you can actually throw it, and you're catching this ball of energy. Another thing that you can do is rub your hands together and just rub them together until you feel them getting really warm. And then again, do that really almost like a silly putty, or not silly putty, slime. That's what it was. It was that slime. Remember, you used to pull the slime out and it would be really gross and stretch out in your hands. Well, you can picture that with energy. You're building it up by rubbing your hands together. You're building up not even a friction, but you're getting the energy to connect. And then as you're pulling it apart, you can just feel it stretching out. And it's a lot of fun. And the other thing you can do is turn your chairs around so that you're back to back. And now as you're facing each other, not facing each other, but your backs are facing each other's backs. Not touching each other, but real close. You want to visualize the energy running down your spine and then actually curling down into a little tail, like a monkey's tail. And then you want to picture your tails kind of like curling around each other like this. And sending the energy down through your spine, through your tail, into their tail. And the other person's going to be feeling the same thing. You can either take turns doing it, where you're sending it, then they're sending it, you're sending it, then they're sending it, or you can do it at the same time. Practice both. It's a lot of fun, and you can kind of just feel it running down your back, and then the other person will feel it running up their back. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. So those are just a couple of the things that you can do. There's a lot of different little energy games that you can play. You can also, just to practice or see how it works for you with reading energy thought, make a list of a few questions. You want to make them simple questions, but not real obvious. Like, if you're two people that had lunch together, you don't want to put down, what did I have for lunch? Because you would know that. But you want to put down something that, what's my favorite color? You can come up with a list of maybe half a dozen questions. Make 2 copies of the same questions. If you want to make them just simple yes or no, you can do that to start. It's probably easier to do yes or no questions to start. Then you can work your way up to like single word answers. But start off with the yes or no questions, and then sit there with each other, like I said, when you're sitting across from each other, Focus on the breathing until you get your breathing in sync with each other. And then sit there with the list in front of you of the questions and read the questions. Try not to put too much thought into it. You want to read the question and go with the first thing that comes to your mind. The yes or the no, circle it, whatever, if it's a one word, whatever way you're going about your questions. And you're both answering the same questions at the same time about each other. When you're done, sit with each other and compare the answers and see how many you got right. If you really want to have fun with it, you can do the list of questions first before you have any kind of connection with each other. Without doing any talking, without focusing on each other, just look at it, answer it real quick, then do the energy connection and focus with each other, and then answer them again. See if your answers change. And then compare to whether you were right prior to, whether you had more right prior to connecting with each other, or whether you had more right afterwards. So it's just a couple fun little experiments that you can do with each other. Some of the things too, we have connections with not just people. We also have connections with animals, plants, anything that has energy. Almost everything out there is made up of energy. Everything has some kind of energy to it. Some is a more thought process energy. I mean, some has, like an animal is going to have more of a connection than, say, a car. So you can focus some of that too. Try and put your thought out. I mean, how many times have you, for those of you that have pets, you have a dog that absolutely loves you. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're just thinking, oh, it's almost feeding time, and all of a sudden they come running. Oh, we're going to eat, we're going to eat, we're going to eat. They picked up on your thought of food. Or maybe it's time to go for a walk. And you haven't even picked up the leash yet. You're just sitting there thinking about time to go for a walk, and there's your friend standing there wagging their tail like crazy, like, oh, we're going to go for a walk, let's go for a walk, let's go for a walk. Again, they pick up on our thoughts as well. I wish we could pick up on theirs a little more, and some people can, being as they can't really communicate verbally with us. It would be nicer if we could have a real direct communication. So sometimes just practicing it a little bit, getting more in tune with it, knowing that it's there, it can help. We also have, you've got your connections with the animals. You have connections. How many times have you been thinking about somebody and then the phone rings and it's them? Or you're thinking about them and they pop up on Facebook. It's our thoughts. Our thoughts are energy. It also plays into the manifesting, and I've done shows on manifesting. Our thoughts create, and that's because our thoughts are energy. We send it out. It's a vibration. It goes out there, and people do pick up on that. We pick up on other people's thoughts. It's not necessarily being, like I said earlier, psychic or a mind reader. It's that thought wave. And I think we're all connected. We all have that ability to pick up those thoughts, even if we're not realizing it, even if it's subconsciously picking up those thoughts. I've often wondered if people who do where they're taking you through, looking for the word and I've lost it, but when they're taking you through like a past life regression or any kind of a guided meditation, the thoughts that they're sending out. Sometimes when I've been doing a guided meditation, whether it's me doing the guided meditation for other people or where I'm at a meditation where somebody else is taking us through, I've had it happen where the things that they're about to say, I'm already there. Or I've had that happen where other people are already there before I've said it. And again, I don't think that so much mind reading or, being psychic. It's about that thought went out before it was said. They thought about where they were going. They thought about, what you were going to see before they said it. So you picked up that thought, and because you're in that deeper, sense where you're more connected doing that meditation or doing a past life, it's easier when you're not thinking about it, if that makes sense. It's easier to pick it up when you're not thinking about it, when you're relaxed and your mind is quiet and you've got somebody else there sending the thoughts out. It wouldn't surprise me if when you're really connected to somebody and you have that mental connection, that you couldn't actually take somebody through, and it's something we'll have to try sometime, that you couldn't actually take them through a guided meditation without saying a word, just by thinking it, just by playing the whole visual scene in your head and thinking the words to yourself. It would be interesting to see if a group of people doing a meditation and you're just letting some soft music play and just leaving them go wherever they want to go, but while you're playing a specific meditation in your head, it'd be interesting to compare afterwards to whether anybody actually saw or went to the places that you were creating. So that's something I'll actually have to try sometime. I hadn't really actually thought about that till I started talking about it. So sometimes we learn more by trying to teach than actually doing research and trying to learn. So that's interesting. I think you had, Lisa, you had mentioned to me too about how you think thoughts, like when you walk into a room and you feel somebody is not a good energy or a bad energy. She's just grabbing a mic. Bear with us a second. But we were talking a little bit before the show about how how you feel people's energy when you walk in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can feel it. Well, at least I can. You always know who the grouchy person is. You know where to sit. You know who's having a problem, who's fighting. You can cut it with a knife sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not because you can see the expressions on their face or that they're wearing a sign that says, I'm mean, stay away.
Right.
It's the energy that they're putting out.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things is everyone feels the energy. It's just a matter of the interpretation of what that energy means.
Absolutely.
And some people will, if you walk into a room and someone might look at you, and then all of a sudden you feel this feeling like, oh, she thinks she's better than me. We've all been there. Mm-hmm. Especially women. We know that feeling.
I think women are a little more open to that.
Absolutely.
That energy.
But that energy is what I'm talking about, and we put the words behind what that feels, and sometimes it's not always that. It's just an energy, and it's something it tells us to pay attention, not interpret at that second. Because I think that's where a problem starts is we think we're interpreters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, we can very easily misinterpret by.
We're all guilty, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all do that.
Absolutely.
I think a good example of that is, like you said, you walk into a room and maybe somebody looks at you and they've got this anger energy that's emanating from them. So maybe it's because they were angry at their boyfriend, or maybe they were angry at their mom, but because they are putting out that angry energy and you feel that anger energy when they looked at you, you assume that it was directed at you, and like you said, they think they're better than me, or
absolutely.
Yeah, so we can misinterpret that as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're picking up energy. You may be picking up that emotion, you may be picking up that feeling, but it's not always directed at you. You know, there may be a reason behind it. Maybe that person is grouchy that day, but doesn't mean that they always are.
Yeah, and just try not to interpret it.
Yeah.
You know, just to understand and know its presence is there. Because maybe somebody just needs a little bit more compassion. And maybe because you're so intuitive that you pick up on that energy, you might just be the one they need to have a soft word to.
Right.
You know,
and
given from.
I think the ones that are affected most that way are empaths. People that are really empathic to other people's emotions.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can get really overwhelming
Yes.
for them because they haven't learned. I mean, there's ways to protect yourself. There's ways to feel it and to understand it and to know that it's there, but you don't necessarily have to take it in. You don't have to feel it yourself. And I think that's where a lot of empaths run into a problem, is they end up feeling it themselves.
Absolutely.
So that's another place where an energy connection can be
Right, and they interpret
a problem.
And I'm going to go back to interpreting. They interpret it, but they interpret it to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Because
there's a lot of
I would say, I said to you earlier, like a room reader. And what I mean by room reader is when you go in a room, you can feel the energy. You just do. You just feel emotions, like we were saying. You feel thoughts. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can.
No, not at all.
But you can feel the thoughts.
Mhm.
And what I think empaths do is, at least that's what I did. I feel that I'm empathic.
We can do a whole show on empaths, and I think that's another topic that I'll do a show on.
Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it would be a great topic.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the mistakes that we make, being susceptible, is we always assume that it's us.
Absolutely.
And that's why empaths tend to get sick. They tend to get sick more than the next person because they can read energy and they interpret it because of their own stuff that it's them.
They take it on.
They take it on.
Yep.
Right, not take it on like heavy, but they take it on meaning, oh, it was me. I caused them to, they don't like me. They don't like my hair. They don't like my this. It's my nose. Oh, they think that they're better than me.
Right.
Those types of things, as if it's them.
Yep.
Not, and then there are the people that take it on and want to solve their problems too.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues that empaths take it on.
I think the easiest thing that when people come to me and they're asking me about them being an empath and they don't know what to do because they always feel other people's hurt or other people's anger, and I don't know what to do with it. It's overwhelming. It's like, a good analogy is somebody comes to you with some laundry, a whole bag full of laundry. And it's okay to sit there and help them fold it because they might be overwhelmed with how much they have. It's okay to help them fold it. But once it's put back in that bag, it's their bag to carry, not yours. You don't walk away carrying that bag for them.
Right.
So it's okay to help them, but you don't have to continue to carry it with you. It's theirs to carry.
It's a great analogy.
So, but I think I'll look into doing a whole topic on empaths because it's another whole thing with the energy. You know, they're taking on other people's energy that they're putting out.
And women are extremely susceptible to it.
Absolutely.
Men, like I told you earlier, my husband interprets it as something else, and he would never say he's an energy reader. However, I think that women are just, like you said earlier too, are more open to it.
They are.
And we got to stop. Like, I think you helping them and talking about empaths will really help a lot of women because they're caregivers and they're wanters and they're healers. But the last thing the world needs is a bunch of unhealed healers.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And this is a way of healing, is them understanding that they don't have to carry the laundry bag.
Exactly.
And it's okay, and they're not going to be judged, and they're not going to go to hell. And God's still going to love them, and so is their church.
And it's not all about you.
Yeah, it's not?
No, I'm sorry, but it's not. But no, we do have to realize it's not all about us. And like you said, you always feel like it's about you.
Yes.
You know, you take it personally, and that's our ego getting in the way. I mean, we need our ego. We need our ego to keep us in check. But sometimes that ego just needs to go sit in the corner.
Right. Well, yeah, and we're taught really as kids, though, that that feeling, you know, that anger feeling and the things that we pick up in a room, but we're taught when we were little, when we felt that we did something wrong. Because it's very similar to that feeling of punishment from an adult.
It is.
Like, especially if you're that susceptible, you know, that negative, that low vibration. You know it. And you know there's lots of things associated with it. And as a kid, in your mind, you associate it with, you're in trouble, you did something wrong, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And just because it vibrates at the same level and it feels the same way, and you know, you have the same physical reactions as well as emotional reactions. And then the training our brain has is it always takes us right back to that feeling the last time we felt that, and that's how we interpret it as something's wrong with me. And in fact, you've been given a gift to be able to read the emotion, to read the things, so that way you could do something for them, not for you.
Right.
It's hard.
Yep.
It's really hard.
But it is a gift, and used the right way can do so much good, and can actually make you feel stronger and feel better than, you know, if you do it the right way.
Yep.
If you feel like you've done something good for somebody else, that makes you feel great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we need to get away from that, I made them feel bad, or, oh, it's got to be that they're mad at me, or I did something wrong. You know, we've got to instead focus on, oh, we made them feel better. We made them feel good.
Right, and we also have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, that it's okay even if they were mad.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's a tough one, too, is
Yeah.
being okay even if they were mad, the energy that they're giving off, that you're going to be okay. And you know.
And it's theirs. Again, it's theirs.
Absolutely.
It's not yours. It's theirs. If they choose to be angry, if they choose to be jealous or resentful, well, that's their choice. It's their energy. It's their thought. You can't do anything about that. All we can do is how we react to it and how we feel about it.
Right. Yeah, and it's so hard when you get caught up in that whirlwind, especially if you don't like negative feelings when you're picking up on people. And the first thing that we tend to do is want to solve it and have that negative feeling go away. And we have to learn to be comfortable with that feeling, and that we're going to get to the other side of it, and sitting with it is hard. You
Absolutely.
know, because you can't be comfortable and have courage at the same time either.
No.
So
they don't work well together.
They can't coexist. So
it's like fear and love.
Exactly.
You know, they don't work well together. One outweighs the other, and it's your choice which one. You know, which one do you feed?
Yeah, it's hard. But we're all growing.
Yeah, we are, and I think with each of us that are in our growth process, you know, as we're reaching out and teaching other people and helping them to grow as well.
And that's how we change the planet.
Absolutely.
You know, what is that saying that you have to go out there and
be the change that you want to see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's us. It starts with us.
Absolutely.
And individual, tiny little baby steps of, you know, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yep, I like that. Well, that pretty much brings our show to a wrap up, and I think I've got a great idea for another show. So I'll work on putting that together, get some information together on empaths and how to deal with that. Maybe I'll even convince somebody to be a co-host that day, since she seems to be so well versed on it. But then who's going to run the board? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we have a few shows coming up after, so I do want to invite you to stay tuned for those. We have Mystic Talk from 6 to 7. Oh, and we have that new one, right? What was that called again?
It is Paranormal Frequency. That's on after your show.
That's from 5 to 6.
5 to 6.
Yep, and then it's Mystic Talk from 6 to 7. Heaven Talks from 7 to 8:30, and Beyond the Veil from 8:30 to 9:30. So you guys are set for your entertainment for the whole night. So just stay tuned and enjoy the shows, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
It's a great show. All right. And I wasn't watching Alpha. It was the middle of the day, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Then I start hearing the click again. But it's not just like one click. It starts getting faster and faster, like